Hello, my friends. So, question for you. Have you ever struggled to make a decision? And when you've made that decision, have you been confident in the decision that you've made or wrestled with that? That's what we're getting into today on today's Top Leaders. Hi, everybody. I'm Jen Anderson, and it is my pleasure and it is my honor to help you become the tech leader that everyone wants to work for. And what I'm doing here with this call today is I want to make sure that when you're thinking about the decision making that you're going through, that you think about that in context of your personal brand. And as you put those two pieces together, how that can actually really help you have such a better level of confidence in that decision that you made. So let's talk about this for a moment. So let's take this piece about personal brand, just kind of cut that out for a second and look at that for a second. So what I mean by a personal brand is the mark that you want to make in the world. Okay. Or it could be the legacy that you want to leave behind. And when I'm talking about legacy, I'm not talking about having your family name splashed on the side of some big university somewhere, right? Hey, that's great if you're able to do that. Good on you, right? That's awesome. But for the vast majority of us, that's not going to be what our quote unquote legacy is going to be, okay? It's not going to be the big, aha, here's our family name on the side of a building, okay? But you do have a legacy that you're building every day through all those interactions that you have with your team members. So what ends up happening is that when you're clear about your personal brand and you understand, okay, this is the mark I want to make on the world, right? Or again, the legacy, it's your impact, it's the perception of other people. All of that is what your personal brand is. So when you look at that thing, you just look at that as a body of work in and of itself, okay? Now, when here we are, we're going through life, we're going through our work day, right? Decision-making opportunities come up, right? All the time. Now, I often will tell my husband things like, I'm having decision fatigue because I will just I'll get to a point where I'm like, I can't make any more decisions. And when I've stopped and I've reflected on that, it's like, well, I'm having fatigue is because I'm tired. There's things that are going on. There's too much that's happening. And I need to just kind of slow down for a second. And maybe the decision doesn't need to happen right that moment, right? Sometimes it does need to happen. But a lot of times it's just like there's too much that's coming at you. And so then this is where, when I go back to this whole idea of decision making and then adding it to the personal brand. So if you're in that situation where you feel like you're running into a lot of decision fatigue, you might want to stop and just be like, okay, well, why am I even having to make all of these decisions, right? Okay. Now I'm not just talking about, oh, what do we do for dinner? I don't know. Right? Like that's not what I'm referring to. Okay? I saw a meme a long time ago. It said something about I never knew that being an adult that the hardest thing was going to be figuring out what to have for dinner every night. I just totally love that. Oh, it's just great, right? Okay, but that's what I'm talking about when it comes to decision fatigue and decision making overall. I'm talking about, are you allowing too many things to come into your life? And so then if you've got too much that's coming at you, then you're going to totally just feel like you're getting punched upside the head with all these things that just keep hitting you. And so maybe it's an opportunity to just say, okay, let me hit the pause button, take a timeout, and do we really have to make all these decisions right now? And I'm not talking about kicking something down the road, right? Because you're just not wanting to deal with it. Okay, I get that, right? But if you're doing that too much, that's a whole different thing. That gets into this whole place of apathy and being in this place of just really just not wanting to deal with it, right? That's another conversation for another time. Okay, but if in those decision making moments, you have too much stuff that's coming at you, and you're thinking, okay, I can't handle it, I can't do it anymore, right? Well, I've got a thought for you. What if you don't have to be the one that makes the decision, number one? Okay, and as a leader, you might be like, "What, Jen? I gotta do the things. I gotta lead. I gotta make some choices." But perhaps not always. And if you've positioned yourself on the team to be the one to make the decisions, my friend, you're going to run into some decision fatigue. And you're going to miss out on the opportunity to develop and to grow your people so that they can be part of the decision making as well. So maybe just kind of stop and look at that for a minute. And if that's the case, if your personal brand is that you want to be the person, the one in the middle that everybody comes to, then keep at it, right? So then therefore decision fatigue should never hit you, because if that's what you want your brand to be, I'm going to bet, just going to kind of put it out there, I don't think any of you want to be the one that your brand is. I want to be the person in the middle to make all the decisions, right? Likely that's not the case. Okay. But if it is, good on you. Go have fun with it. The rest of this call is not for you. Okay. But if you're a type of person where your brand is more really focused, let's say an example of really helping other people to be elevated and to grow. And that's what you want to be known for. And you think about making a difference with the people on your team. Okay, let's just take that aspect of it. Well, enable them, empower them with appropriate level decision making, right? Therefore, you can let that stuff go, and then you can focus on what makes sense, right? And in doing that, then what I mean by making sense is that you can focus on helping them with them figuring out their decision making, right? And so then it turns into a little bit of a different perspective around the hemming and the hawing, and the making the decision down the road, or other people being frustrated with you because you're not making the decisions fast enough and that's stopping them from doing what they need to do, right? So that's something I want you to think about, okay? Again, be clear on your personal brand, right? So we've identified that. Then as decisions are coming, then you can start to base it against, okay, all right, is that in alignment with, or does that detract from my personal brand? Okay. Then it's going to really help you to know what to say yes to, or what to say no to, or whatever the answer is, because it's going to help you to let that pressure go, because instead you're going to be more in alignment with what you want your personal brand to be. And that just makes things a lot easier. Trust me, it's so much easier when you have that consistent ability to show up. I often tell my clients, it's not like you wake up and you say, hey, it's Thursday, I'm going to put on this version of Jen, and I'm going to zip up this skin suit, and this is who I'm going to be, and this is how I'm going to conduct myself. And then Saturday comes along, it's like, I'm the Saturday version of Jen, let me put on that version of the skin suit and zip it up. That doesn't happen, right? I'm the same person. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is, right? You are all the same person. Doesn't matter if you're dealing with work stuff, personal life stuff, community things, stuff with your kids in school, etc. It doesn't matter. You are still consistently the same person. So have a brand that's consistent across the board. So then when it comes to opportunities to making decisions in your household, in your community, with your kids' stuff at school, with work, etc., you can stop and look at it and say, okay, does that align with who I want to be known for? Okay. So all of us as leaders, we will have multiple opportunities to show up and to do great things. It's going to continue to come your way. It always will. And today, maybe the best decision that you can make for yourself is to say, no, I'm not going to do that. And be okay with it. So recently, I ran into a situation where I had the opportunity to attend my first PTA meeting, and that stands for Parent Teacher Association, for those of you who don't know. My daughter's in kindergarten. We just recently moved to a new state, and she's attending a public school now, and there's a Parent Teacher Association. And I heard about from the resource manager at the school, and she said, hey, Jen, PTA meeting, do you want to go attend? I'm like, yeah, I would love to, actually. That would be just fine. But I knew that getting into it, I'm like, I really don't want to run the PTA right now. I got some stuff that I'm working on, and I just don't want to spend my time on that right now. So I knew going into the meeting that I don't want to do those kinds of things. Okay. Now my brand is Activate. I'm all about activating things, people, processes, systems. I've been involved in leadership in nonprofits and stuff too, and being in leadership in companies, etc. And so I'm all about spell out the vision, help other people succeed. So I jump on this Zoom meeting. It was supposed to be in person, but with whatever going on, we decided to do Zoom. And there was probably about 20 people that were on there. And I just thought, okay, we'll just observe and see what's going on. Well, apparently they will have the opportunity to choose a new PTA leadership team for next school year. And this opportunity, people need to be nominated, and there'll be a vote in March. And right now it's January. So, so they're saying, hey, does anybody want to nominate anybody or whatnot? And I just said, by the way, I'm just raising my hand to say, I don't want to be nominated right now. I don't know anything about anything that's going on here. This is my first time, but I'm happy to participate as a parent. And so right out of the gate, I put that out there that no, I'm not interested in being a part of leadership. Does that mean for forevermore? I don't think that's the case. I think it might be quite fun to serve in some leadership capacity in the PTA. Okay. But today, no, I don't want to do it. It doesn't align with what's going on, how I'm trying to have more calmness in my life. And I'm like, I just don't want to get all wound up with all of it. Mostly, unfortunately, it's mostly moms. When I say unfortunately, is that there's really not a lot of dads that are involved, but I don't want to do that. And as I was observing the interactions with people during this Zoom meeting, I saw that the current president, that she wasn't doing a really great job of meeting management. There wasn't an agenda. Things seemed kind of quite messy. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, okay, they need this. I go straight into the processes. Let's get things organized so that people can do what they need to do so they can execute on the vision. Right? It took everything in my power to not say, you know what, actually, maybe I will participate a little bit more. I just knew, you know what, it's okay. It's fine. And I did hear from some people afterwards. They said, thank you so much for being there. Because what happened is I was asking questions. And the first question I asked within like the first couple of minutes was, stupid question, but can you just tell me what is this meeting about today? Like what is it that we're focused on? Do we have an agenda? And to me, that's a good example of starting a meeting well, is making sure that there's an agenda so people understand and they're staying focused. And that's how I activate. Okay, is I make sure people are clear on this is what it is that we're talking about. This is the purpose of this meeting. So because then that in turn helps people to level set their thinking. They can be more guided and directed and not get off in the weeds and randomness. Okay. And so anyhow, later, following the meeting on another day, I bumped into someone. She said, thank you so much for asking some really good questions. She's like, it really showed a light on how things are disorganized, and we really appreciate you participating. I said, absolutely. And I thought in that moment, I'm still being an activator. I am still activating them, because through my questions, they started talking about, yeah, we need to gather our bylaws. And I said, what are the job descriptions? Even if I wanted to apply, I don't even know what the job descriptions entail. And one of the women, she said, yeah, she's like, if I'm going to be nominated as vice president, then I'd like to know what does that entail so that I can say fully yes or no. And so that's what I do, is I recognize, oh, there's an opportunity to provide people with information. So I've activated that. And so the current president, she's like, okay, great. Thanks, you guys. We'll make sure to pull this together. And so I think that I left them better. I heard from somebody else that told me that she thought that I left the situation better. So in the end, I can feel like I've activated them. That's my personal brand. And the decision-making of, do I want to be involved in the leadership of the PTA right now? I'd already had that feeling, that gut feeling like, no, I don't want to do it right now. This isn't good for me right now. So, however, even as a participant, I was still able to activate by way of my questions and showing up and encouraging them and cheering them on and those kinds of things too, right? And so that to me allows me to walk away from it, and I can wash my hands and I can say, I am good with that decision of no, I don't want to participate in the PTA right now. As a leader, right? As a parent, yeah, of course, I'll be doing stuff, right? In fact, I hope we get some cute shirts, because I'd like to get one for my kindergartner and one for me and my husband, so we can represent our local bulldogs, right? Okay, so I'm sharing this example because I think sometimes people are like, wait, I don't understand how my brand ties into these other things in my life. But through that, I'm hoping that this exemplifies for you. Be clear about your personal brand. Get that nailed down first. And if you aren't clear about your personal brand, then that's where you need to get in touch with me. So come over to movingforwardsolutions.com. Click on the Let's Talk button, schedule a time, let's do a consult and talk about what is it going to look like to help you get your personal brand nailed down. Because once you're clear on that and it's determined, then you can start to leverage it. Then you too can also have clarity when an opportunity like helping out in the PTA or participating in something at work or whatever it is, it's going to help you to then know how you're going to leverage your brand so that you can have more guidance, more control, more confidence in the end, and clarity. That's the big thing I want for you, is that clarity and that confidence on how you want to conduct yourself. And then if it makes sense to say yes or it makes sense to say no, you stick with the answer and you move forward. Okay. And you don't have to worry about wringing your hands and hemming and hawing. Oh, did I make the right decision? And then it's a lot easier to move forward. So hopefully that example that I've given you from my own personal life even helps you as well to see how you put this in context, excuse me. So in the end, it really helps you to, when you base things off of what you want to be known for in your brand, it really helps you stay true to your decisions. So my friends, as we're wrapping all of this up here for you today, again, if you're needing help, get in touch with me. Come on over to movingforwardsolutions.com and schedule a consult. And then let's talk more about what it can do for you to have that clarity with your personal brand and what that will do for you overall as a leader. Because in the end, I am here to support you so that you can become the leader that everyone wants to work for. Thanks so much, and I will see you next time.